making of a scientist. Dear students, we have to take the making of a scientist. First of all, the introduction to the lesson. Richard Ebright has received the Seeley Scholar Award and the Scaring Pluff Award for biochemistry and molecular biology. It was his fascination for butterflies that opened the world of science to him. The story is about Richard Ebright, who grew up in the town of Reading in Pennsylvania, USA. As he did not have much to do there, collecting things was his hobby. He used to collect butterflies as a child in kindergarten. So let us go through the making of this scientist. First of all, we have to introduce the author. Robert W. Peterson was born in 1925, in Pennsylvania, and he passed away on 11th February 2006. Was an American newspaper writer who later became a freelance author of magazine articles and books, especially on the topics of sports and scouting. His 1970 chronicle of Negro League baseball titled Only the Ball Was White was hailed by the New York Times as having recaptured a lost era in baseball history and a rich facet of black life in America. The baseball commissioner at this time, Balu, later credited Peterson's book with having focused greater attention on the accomplishments of Negro League players, leading to their admission to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Richard H. Ebright, along with his roommate, surprised the world at the young age of 22 when they explained the theory on how cells work in a paper published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. This valuable magazine had published the work of college students for the first time. For Richard Ebright, it was one of the many achievements that he achieved later in his life. He says that all his curiosity started with butterflies. Ebright grew up in Pennsylvania and was the only child of his parents. He could have not done much there, as there were very less people living there. He says that he could only do one thing alone, and that was collecting things, as he had no friends to play football or baseball with. He had begun collecting butterflies, rocks, fossils, and coins from the time when he was in kindergarten. He also used to keep on staring the stars and sometimes the whole night as he was interested in studying astronomy. Ebright had always been curious to learn new things and had a sharp mind. His mother used to encourage him to learn. She used to take him on learning trips, used to buy him telescopes and other instruments that would help him in learning new things. His mother was his only friend until he went to school. After he started going to school, his mother would get his friends home. He and his mother used to stay together at night, and they used to do and learn things together. Ebright, who was nicknamed Richie by his mother, was her whole life and support system after his father died when he was in third grade. They used to spend most of the evenings together. If he did not have anything to do, his mother would find him some task for learning. He used to like the learning work that his mother used to give him, as that was what he wanted to do, learn about more and more new things. He was a bright student, as he used to score good in class and also was regular in his daily tasks. By the time he was in second class, he had collected all the 25 species of butterflies at that point, and that were found in his neighborhood. He thought that it would have been the end of his butterfly collection if his mother would have not got him a children's book called The Travels of Monarch 10. The book told how the monarch butterflies migrated to Central America, which was the turning point of Ebright as it turned his curiosity towards science. At the end of the children's book that his mother had got him, the readers of the book were invited to help the study of butterfly migrants. They were asked to tag butterflies by Dr. Frederick Urquhart of the University of Toronto in Canada. Richie's mother wrote to the doctor, and soon he was attaching adhesive tags to the wings of the butterflies. The person who would find a butterfly with a tag was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart. The butterfly collecting season lasted for around 6 weeks. Then Ebright understood that if he kept on collecting butterflies one by one, he would not be able to collect many. So, the next step he took was that he decided to raise a flock of butterflies in his basement. He used to catch a female butterfly, collect its eggs, and raise them in his basement through their proper life cycles. Then he used to tag the wings of the butterflies and would let them go. There were thousands of monarchs in his basement, growing in different life stages for many years. Soon, he started losing interest in tagging butterflies as it was a very slow and thrilling process. It also did not get him much response. He said that out of the many butterflies that he tagged, only 2 could be recaptured by people, and those 2 were not more than 75 miles away from where he lived. When he was in 7th class, he came to know what real science was as he lost at a county science fair. It was a really sad feeling for him to see all other people win something while he did not win anything. He showed frog tissue slides under a microscope but realized that all the winners had actually tried to perform an experiment and not just make a neat display out of their projects. He had already started developing the competitive spirit inside him. Now he had decided that he would be making a real project for the next year's fair. He thought and realized that he had a maximum knowledge about the subject of insects as he had been studying them for quite some time now. He wrote to Dr. Urquhart for ideas, and he sent back a lot of ideas for his next year's project. He remained busy with those ideas all throughout his high school and won many prizes. In his 8th class, he tried to find the cause of a viral disease that killed nearly all monarch caterpillars every few years. Ebright thought that the disease was being transmitted through beetles, so he started raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles. It was of no use, but when he showed that he had tried such an experiment, he won something for his project. For the next year, he tried the theory that viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. He put forward the theory, and viceroy butterflies look like monarchs because monarchs do not taste good to the birds, and the birds like to eat viceroys. So, the more the viceroy looked like the monarch, the less likely it is that viceroy would be eaten by a bird. He wanted to show in his projects that would a bird eat monarchs or not. He found out that the sterling bird would prefer eating a monarch. Later, research showed that the viceroys copied the monarchs. This project won him the first division, the zoology department, and the third overall position in the country science fair. Research, the systematic investigation into and study the materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach a new conclusion. During his second year of high school, Richard started a research from which he found about an unknown insect hormone that later helped him in his new theory about the life of cells as well. The question from where the research started was very simple as to what was the purpose of the 12 tiny gold spots on a monarch pupa. Most of the people said that the spots were made for making a look more decorative, but Dr. Urquhart did not believe in what others said. To find the answer to this question, a bright and another excellent science student together made a device that proved that these spots produced a hormone necessary for the full development of a butterfly from a pupa. With this, Ebright won the first prize at the county science fair and the entry to International Science and Engineering Fair. There, his project won third prize for zoology. He also got a chance to work at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. He continued his work with the monarch pupa as a high school junior, and that led him to win the first prize at the International Science Fair. After winning this prize, he also got a chance to work at the Army laboratory during summers. Then, during his senior year, he tried another experiment to which he grew cells from a monarch's wing in a future and showed that cells would divide and develop into a normal butterfly wing scales provided that they were treated with the hormone from the gold spots. This research of his won the first prize at the international fair, and he spent his summer after graduation doing more research on the subject at the Army Laboratory and the Laboratory of United States Department of Agriculture. Then he worked some more on the hormone released from the gold spots during the following summers at the laboratory of the Agriculture Department. He identified the chemical structure of the hormone using the lab's special equipment. After 1.5 years, Ebright got the idea for his new theory, which was about the cell life. The idea came to him when he was looking at the X-ray photos of the chemical structure of the hormone. He did not get excited about his discovery as soon as he found it, but came to a realization that his years of study on the insect's hormone had solved one of the puzzles of biology. It had solved the mystery of how cells read the blueprint of its DNA. He found that as the DNA is in the nucleus of a cell that controls heredity, therefore it determines the form and function of a cell. Hence, DNA is the blueprint of life. Then Ebright and his roommate made drawings and plastic models for the theory, which showed how it was possible, and later wrote a paper which explained the process. It did not surprise the people who knew him that he graduated from Harvard with the highest honors and stood second in his class among 1,510 students. He then became a graduate student researcher at the Harvard University and also started doing practical experiments to test his theory. It was expected that if the theory proved to be correct, then it would be a big step towards understanding the complex system of life and also would lead to new ideas for preventing certain types of cancer and other diseases. So this showed how his research on the monarch pupa led him to a theory about cell life. He had been keen in science ever since he started collecting butterflies, but this did not keep him away from his other interests in life. He was a champion debater, a great public speaker, and a good boat racer. He was also an all round outdoor sports person, along with being an expert photographer. He was a great at capturing nature and scientific subjects. As he was a great student and always used to score good, he used to focus his extra energy on debating and model United Nations clubs. He also used to admire his social studies teacher and an advisor to both clubs, Mr. Richard Wheeler. Ebright thought that his teacher was the right man, as he was one who used to open his mind to new ideas. His teacher was impressed with the fact that how Ebright would give an extra 3 to 4 hours of effort at night for the debate research apart from the time that he used to give his butterfly research and his other interests. He added that he was competitive, but not in a bad sense, because he did not win to get prizes for the sake of winning, but because he wanted to be the best at whatever he did. This is what makes a good scientist. He needs a first-rated mind along with curiosity, with an added will to win for the right reasons. Since the time Richard's mother got him the book about migration of monarchs, his curiosity towards science has just given.